My daughter is trans, and from a really young age, we were recognizing things about her that didn't seem like your typical boy. And so we had begun at the age of 4 working with our pediatrician, who was great. And so I started my journey on PFACs, I guess I would say, on the Oregon Executive PFAC. And my goal was to try to improve healthcare for trans people, specifically my daughter. I applied to get on this one because this was exactly what I wanted to be able to do. I wanted to be able to have a voice to advocate for my daughter and other kids like her. My focus, of course, because she's a kid, it was youth, but for trans people in general. I wanted every person who my daughter saw at Providence to treat her just as a person and to not be confused by her name and her pronouns and to not feel like she was a novelty.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so we worked a lot together over the last year on education specifically and, kind of putting together education for caregivers at Providence. I would just be interested to hear about some of like the highs and lows of that experience for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess the high was that it was happening. I was so happy that it was happening because I had waited for so long. And the fact that it was system wide, it wasn't just the state of Oregon, it was the entire Providence system. And so that to me was just high. It was just so exciting and to hear that basically it was going to be available to every patient-facing employee at Providence was just amazing to me. I think one of the lows might just be like seeing some of the videos that had been first shown to us and thinking, oh no, that is not it. That like so much of the language has changed. And so recognizing that, yes, right now we are doing the best we can to try to use the language that is most respectful and most accurate. But 2 years from now, it could be kind of obsolete. So that's a little bit frustrating. The other low point is the EPIC system. So it's frustrating some of the language that there's not a choice to change, and it really is not trans patient friendly.
The PFAC was fantastic in saying, well, actually, this is how I'd like to be, how I'd like to be represented, or these are the words we'd like to use. But we did hit a pretty big limitation when we had to keep things, of course, aligned with EPIC. And so there were certain points where there were words or definitions that we couldn't change or couldn't update based on that PFAC feedback because we wanted to be able to train people in what they would see in EPIC. And I agree with you. That was frustrating. That was a hard moment because we all were in our conversations really acknowledging the thing that you're saying, that language evolves and it's really important to make sure that we document things the way that the patient says they are and how the patient represents themselves. And some of the choices that are available in EPIC are not up with, the expectations of our PFAC.
Well, and it's frustrating because it feels almost like, so here's EPIC, this thing that is supposed to be serving us, and yet it's more like we are bending our, expectations or parameters, or we're bending to EPIC, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be EPIC that is serving us. So that's my next goal.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal, and I'm really excited that you are passionate about it. Having a patient and family advisory council is about centering patient experience and your experiences and your, definitions and the way that like you as patients and parents of patients want to see yourselves or your family members represented. And then here's this, limitation in the medical system that we're trying to, adapt based on that feedback. So, and it's actually really powerful that input will, influence that as we move forward.
I hope so.